We are live, sir.
Okay. Thank you to everyone. You are welcome to STEM Lockdown Digital School. My name is Mr. Udiane Ben, and my host is Mr. Kate Khalid. He is very far away from where I am, and you are also very far away from us, both of us. In this journey that we are taking, we want to make sure that you continue to learn during lockdown, because we love you. You learn for free. You don't pay anything. I'll also like to extend my thanks to your parents who are supporting you, because to get data and everything online learning, it costs a lot. You are very lucky to have such parents who pay for you to learn during this lockdown. Then I would like to welcome you into this lesson of today. And then today, as usual, we got what we call objectives. But before objectives, I can quickly go back what we did yesterday and during this week. As you can see, our focus was on materials. The main focus is materials. And then on the part of materials, what we are doing, we are checking the properties and different types of materials. We have already investigated coal and oil, plastic made from that. We investigated paper, and then we also talked about wool yesterday, and also the leather. So those materials lessons are very important. Now, today's lesson is the core of scientific investigation, is the important part of scientific investigation. Today's lesson is about properties of materials, characteristics of materials. To start with, on the first slide, we are going to lay out the objectives of today. At the end of this day, you must be able to explain what properties of different materials might possess. You must also be able to explain the importance of being able to select the right material according to its properties. Because we build different products, we also make different sizes, shapes. Therefore, it is very important to choose correctly the right material. If you want to choose the right material, then you have to look on its properties to see if it is right for what you want to use it for. That is why I say it is very, very important part of science investigation. Now, to start with, number one, different materials have different properties. That is clear. When we learned about the state of matter, we learned about different properties that they have. We talked about molecules that are close together, tightly packed and far apart. Those were the properties of types of states of matter. Now we are focusing on the solid materials. Number two, properties of material. Describe what it is like and what it can do. Suppose you want to build a house, and then you have to choose a material based on the properties. It will depend where you are going to build your house. If you build your house maybe in a desert, or if you build a house in the river, because some people can build houses in the rivers because of lack of land. So you've got to choose the right material for building those two types of houses. The one living in the desert will prefer a tent. The one living in the swamp will prepare maybe wood. Now, number 3, materials can be hard, soft, stiff, flexible, strong, weak, light, heavy, waterproof, water absorbent. I said materials can be hard, soft, stiff, flexible, strong, weak, light, or heavy, waterproof or absorbent. Those are the properties that we are going to try to in today's lesson. Let me start with the strength. In this slide, as you can see, the strength is the amount of force needed to break a material, usually by pushing or pulling. So force is when you push something or when you pull something. If you have a material, then you want to check its strength. You can either pull it apart or you can either push it. So you can investigate which type of papers are strong in this investigation. If you have sheets of different types of paper, maybe a cardboard and the paper you use to write on, but they must be the same size. Maybe the size of a ruler. You cut them to the size of a ruler, make a hole on each sheet, yes, not too near to the edge, and hang the weight to see if they break apart. If the material do not easily break apart, that will mean it have got high strength. Now, on the weak part, if a material can easily snap when it is pulled apart, then it is weak, such as a toilet paper. If you can see on the 2 pictures below, I have got the first shiny material, which is a metal, and the ribbons made from paper. So between a steel and a paper ribbon, even if they are the same size, then you can just guess which one is going to break apart and which one will not break apart. It is obvious that steel is very strong and paper is very weak. But because we are scientists, most of the things, most of reasoning is based on investigation. You first have to investigate using the method that I've shown you on the part of the strength, where you hang different sizes of papers, because we are still in grade 4. You hang the heavy metal or something very heavy, or you can just pull it if you don't have something to hang. Then you'll see the one which snaps easily is weak, and the one with strength is the one which does not snap when you pull it very hard. It will need great force for it to be pulled apart. That is strength, one of the property. So if it is not strong, it is weak. So weak is the opposite of strength. Now I'm moving to the next part. Now we are going to investigate the hardness and the softness. In this one, the hardness is the resistance to scratching. If you are unable to scratch something, you scratch it, but it does not, you don't see the marks, then we will say that particular material is very hard. So it's resistant to scratching and pressure. For an example, hard wood does not mark easily as soft wood. So when the scratch test, and in this test, the different objects such as plastic, ruler, and a piece of wood. Example, scratching can be done with a variety of objects, from the fingernails to metal nails, on samples of materials to be tested. So you can place two materials. Maybe for a start, you can place a plastic ruler and also place the other a rock. Maybe the plastic ruler that you don't need anymore, and also the piece of rock or the piece of steel. Then you can take a nail and try to scratch on the steel, and then thereafter you scratch on the plastic ruler. You see which one have got big marks. The one with marks, it means it is soft, and the one without marks is hard. That is how we can test the hardness. So different materials differ in terms of the hardness and the softness. The ones that I know, diamond. Diamond is a very hard material. Unlike other things, like maybe your rubber, the rubber used at school is very, very soft. You can just scratch it very easily, even with your nails. So that is the second property I am investigating with you, which is hardness and softness. So hardness, opposite is softness. So hard and soft. Now the next one is flexible and stiff. Now, materials can be flexible or stiff. In this property, you check how far can it bend before it breaks. If you bend something, you see if it breaks. Then if it does not break easily, you bend it, it keeps its shape, then it means it is flexible. Now, if you bend a material, you try to bend it and it does not bend, it's flexible. If you try to bend it, then it's cracks into two parts, then it means it is stiff. So different materials can be tested. Example is the wood and plastic metal, and you use rulers and cut to investigate how much they will bend by hanging weights from the string onto the end of a sticking weight on the top width. So you can put the weight on top or you can hang the string. On this one, you see the two weights are put on top. Then this one opposed to that other one. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, thank you. Now this one is the weight on top. Now this material is not flexible, and this other one is flexible with the punched hole. So in this investigation, this person was just trying to see if they punch holes on the object what is going to happen to that material. So it makes it flexible. Like the rubber band is flexible. You can stretch it and you can relax it. Now you come to something like a metal ruler or a rod made from wood. If you pull it or you bend it, then if it breaks, then it's not flexible. So this is the second type of what you call the property, flexible and stiff. Now I come to the next one, heavy and light. Other materials are heavy. Heaviness means how much mass it has. This is very simple. You just need a mass meter, something that can measure the mass of objects. Then you can see here that the more the mass reading on the mass meter means heavy. So different materials can be tested, for example, identical size of a piece of wood and piece of plastic cube. Here you must be careful because the size must be the same so that it is a fair test. The size must be the same. So to conduct a fair test, always measurements in science are very important so that our tests are accurate without an error. So if you put each on the mass meter to find out which has more mass, then the reading will tell you which one is heavy and which one is light. That is measuring the heaviness and the lightness. If the material has less reading, it is light. So this is another property that you must know. Now, in this one, the important one for today, very important, waterproof and absorbent. Waterproof and absorbent. On this one, waterproof and absorbent, we check whether the water can pass through that material or cannot pass through the material. So if the material do not absorb water at all, they are said to be waterproof. There is no water getting into the material. A property that can be very useful, for example, clothing, packaging, and housing. So the roof of a house, because it protects you from rain, it must be waterproof. No water must get through the roof. So choosing the material for roofing, you need to check whether it is waterproof or not. Number two, you can do a simple activity. You just drop water onto a variety of materials, as in absorbency activity, to see if they absorb or repel the water. On this picture, indicated on the waterproof column, you can see the water droplets on top of this material, indicating that the water droplets cannot go through. So this material is waterproof. Now on the side of absorbent, which is the opposite of waterproof, a material is able to absorb liquids. When it is absorbent, you can use a dropper to measure out the small pieces of the same size of cotton, wool, wood, metal, and plastic to observe and time any absorption that might take place. So on these two fabrics, the two A and B at the bottom, the other one, A, is non-absorbent. It means it's waterproof, A, and B is absorbent. So now you can see that absorbency or waterproof is also important. When you talk about raincoat, you want to make a raincoat which will allow you to walk in the rain. Then you must know whether you to take something waterproof or absorbent. Then you'll be able to choose the right material for that particular project. Now let's come to the summary. The properties that we have investigated is hardness and softness, strong and weak, flexible and stiff, heavy and light, waterproof and absorbent. Now this statement tells us that we need to choose the material that is suitable for the job to do. It doesn't mean if something is the opposite of the other thing is totally not good. This will depend on what you want to do. Like I've said, a soft material can be important for the clothes, for the clothing, but a hard material is important to build the houses. So the opposite of the property is important at some projects. In other projects, the opposite of that property is useful as well. For example, the raincoat, we said it must be waterproof. Yes, this one is important. The raincoat is obvious. It must be waterproof and it must be flexible. You cannot wear the raincoat that is not flexible, that is very stiff. It must be light, because when rain falls is already heavy, then you will be unable to walk when it is heavy. Then that is why we say you need to be careful when you choose a material. You look on its property to see if it fits what you want to use it for. Now I'm going to ask you questions. It was a long explanation. Checkpoint number 1. What is meant when we say that a material has certain properties? You remember the properties? Yes, it describes what it's like and what it can do. Properties describe what the material is like and what it can do. Number B, what is one property we need a raincoat to have? I think this one you know it. A raincoat is used to walk outside when it's raining. Then you already know properties, but there is one important property that it must have. The others is additional. That one is important. Which is that objective? So that objectives, I am happy because you know it, is being waterproof. If the material is waterproof, it can be used to make a raincoat. Number C, if you want to make a pencil bag, what properties will you consider? You know your pencil bag, how it looks like. And there are properties that I have indicated to you. Hard, soft, strong, weak, flexible, stiff, heavy, light, waterproof, absorbent. Now let me choose. You can choose your answers, but let me tell you which ones I can choose. Between hard and soft, I will choose soft. I'm going to choose soft. Strong and weak, I will choose strong. I will choose strong. Flexible and stiff, it must be flexible. Heavy or light, oh no, you can't carry the heavy pencil bag. It needs to be light. Waterproof or absorbent? For me, I'll choose waterproof, because sometimes when you go to school, it's rainy, or when you are busy eating your lunch, then some juice spill on, or juice or water spill on your pencil bag, your pencils and other contents will get wet. Then I'm going to consider those properties. I guess you're also going to consider those properties as well. But on the last one, waterproof and absorbent, you can also choose absorbent one. It's still fine, because you use it indoors. You don't use it outside. So waterproof for me is a bonus. Okay, then the last one, number D. What do you think waterproof means? Yes, I talked about waterproof. Waterproof means if a material that do not absorb water is said to be waterproof, meaning it is water resistant. Something that is water resistant, or something that do not absorb water, is waterproof. That is what it is. Now let's go to the next part. Here is a summary to show you what we did and then what is important. These properties are very important for you to know in grade 4. There are many other properties that I did not include here. So these ones are the standard properties that are appropriate for the level where you are. So you only have to consider the hardness, meaning can it be scratched or cut off or dented? Flexibility is how far can it bend before it break. The strength is how hard must you pull before the material snaps. Toughness, how strong the material is. Weight, yes, is the same as the heaviness. How heavy or light is the material? So don't be confused. Weight and heavy is almost the same. Now, absorbency, I talked about waterproof and absorbency. Absorbency means will it absorb a liquid or water? So that is the opposite of waterproof. So these properties and their opposites are important, are very, very important. So please consider them as example, as important part of this lesson in this particular slide, a summary. Now let's move to the next part. I have an activity for you which is very short. In this activity, you look at the listed objects and identify different properties of material each object is made of. You copy this table onto your workbook and tick the material of each object. Now you see we have different objects on the property column. Here on this column, we have different objects. Now here are the properties. Now I know you've got bathrooms at home. You simply look at the bathroom tile. You just try to see the hardness by trying to scratch it. Yes, the toughness, meaning if can you easily break it? Yes. Waterproof, whether it can prevent water from passing, is waterproof. Flexible, does it bend? Light, is it heavy or light? Yes. Then we come to plastic bucket. Is it hard? Is it tough? Is it waterproof? Is it flexible? Is it light? Then you come to a sheet of paper. Is it hard? Is it tough? Is it waterproof? Is it flexible? Is it light? You do the same on the glass bowl, leather shoes, nylon curtain. Then you'll see the ticks that these things have got different hardness, toughness, waterproof, and flexibility, and lightness and heaviness. So this shows that, for example, I can come to nylon curtain to see if it's hard. Let me take the last one, nylon curtain, or any curtain that you have at home. Hardness is when you scratch it to see if it's hard. Then you'll see, but don't damage the curtains at your home. You can take just a very old fabric, try to test it. Then toughness, when you want to break apart to see if it's breaking apart. Then waterproof, flexible, light or heavy, then you shall have written your answers in your books. Now, the next checkpoint, I want to know from you, what does flexibility of a material mean? Remember, flexibility, we did it when we were talking about properties. Flexibility, very simple. How far can it bend without breaking? Number B, what is the opposite of absorbent? This comes for the second time. You know this question. Number C, what properties should a material to make a bicycle have? Just look at the bicycle and then try to check the material that must be used to produce the bicycle. Hardness or softness. Okay, the bicycle frame. Let us start with the bicycle frame. The bicycle frame should be hard or soft. Should be strong or weak. Should be flexible or stiff. Should be heavy or light. Should be waterproof or absorbent. Now we come to the tire, the wheel. On the wheel, we have that soft part of rubber. Now, let's check on the bicycle. Should it be soft or hard? Should it be strong or weak? Should it be flexible or stiff? Heavy or light? Waterproof or absorbent? You can see that on the bicycle, certain parts should be hard, like the frame, and the bicycle the bicycle wheel on the tire or the tube, it must be soft. Then also the frame should be strong, and also the tire, it must be strong. You don't need a weak tire. Then you come to flexible and stiff. Now the bicycle frame must be stiff. It must never be flexible. Now you come to the tire, it must be flexible. Now we come to heavy or light. No, the heaviness and lightness, if the bicycle is very heavy, it's going to be very difficult for you to drive it. So now you come to waterproof and absorbent. The tire must be waterproof because you must pump air inside. So air is nearly the same as water. So you need to be able, to keep the air inside. It must be airtight. Now you come to the frame. Imagine if the frame is absorbent, then the frame is going to rust. But if it's non-absorbent, it will not rust. But this one is very important of the bicycle. I've realized that there are different materials used for bicycles. The people who cycle, they use different types of bicycles. Other bicycles are made from steel. Others are made from aluminium. They are heavier. And others are made from a material called carbon fiber. So these three materials determine the price of that bicycle. So the lighter the bicycle, the more expensive, yes, it becomes. So that is about the bicycle. The last question, number D, why is it important to select the right material? Why is it important? This one is also very important, that it is important to select the right material according to its property, depending on what you want to do with the material, like I did with the bicycle. That is very, very important. Now, to get further information on this lesson is very simple. You just have to go to YouTube and watch on the web page that I've just displayed on the screen. And in this video, you are going to learn different properties, which I cannot show on these slides, where you will see different things with different characteristics being used for different purposes. Now, even at your home, you have different things that you can look at. Look at your clothes. Whether you like it, you must wear the soft clothes. No humans can wear hard clothes. The soldiers in the past, during the time of Shakespeare and those people who were writing the books in the 16th century, the soldiers were wearing heavy metals. It was heavy for them to walk from one place to another. It was very heavy. Even to fight in the battle, you had to train very hard because the armor was very, very heavy. Even if you watch these movies where the soldiers are wearing steel all over, they walk very, very slow. But today, that material is no longer being used. Because imagine if the material is very heavy, then you have to run. You have to run against your enemy. It will be very difficult. Like yesterday, I talked about the firefighter. The firefighter needs the material which is fire resistant. I did not indicate it here because we have already learned about fire resistant or heat resistant. That is another property, but it's not for today. Now, it is very important to know, because in science, the investigations that they do, the most important thing that they look at is the property or the characteristics. Like today, you know that there is coronavirus. You are aware of that there is what you call coronavirus. Now, for the scientists to get the right medicine, they have to study the properties or the characteristics of that particular germ. They must find out how it lives, what does it, where does it live, and what does it need to in order for it to survive. And then how does it get into the humans? They've already found that. Now they are working on the medicine so that they are able to prevent it from getting people sick. So the property is important part of scientific investigation. When you go to higher grades, you are going to learn about different properties of different materials. So for now, this is all what you must know. Those 5 properties I've just given you is for your grade 4 science. You don't have to go stretch yourself and go further. Just concentrate on that part. Now let me go to the first slide to see we met our objectives. On the objectives that I gave you today is that I wanted you to be able to explain what properties is. Yes, let me put it right, to explain what different properties of different materials, or to explain properties of different materials. You must be able to explain those properties. You must be able to explain the importance of being able to select the right material according to its property. I've just explained to you that it is important to know the right properties that you need for a material. So for today, that is where I end. I don't want to go any further because I just wanted you to know the properties that you must learn in grade 4. Now, tomorrow, what we are going to do is that how do we reinforce other materials? How do we reinforce or we strengthening other materials? Because other materials, we need them, but they must first be strengthened for us to use them. That will be our focus tomorrow. Today, your job is only to write, to investigate this task on this activity that I have just displayed. Just copy it onto your book and try to investigate. I said for hardness, you can use a small nail. If you don't have a nail, you can take out in your instruments for mathematics. There is a pair of dividers. You try to scratch bathroom tile, plastic bucket, sheet of paper, glass bowl, leather shoes, nylon curtain. You only scratch. If it scratches, then you put a mark. If you don't put a mark. Then the toughness, this is where you are going to pull apart. You take the old tile, don't take the new one. Plastic bucket, sheet of paper, glass bowl, yes, all those things, until you get to lightness. And on the lightness part and heaviness, you just feel it on the hand, in your hand. You don't have to look for the mass meter. just fill in, whether it is heavy or light, then you just put the mark. On flexibility, you are going to try to bend it just a bit, then you will see where it fits. That is your activity for today. And then thank you for being with me, and thank you for concentrating and answering the questions that I was asking. And then I'm very happy that you are learning and you are also progressing very well. And then tomorrow I'm reminding you again that I have a test for you that we are going to write. Then please be ready, revise the work that we did from Monday until today. Then tomorrow I'll give you a test. Then the test will be about 20. Please try to work very hard. Science is very interesting. Places you are going to be professionals, you are going to be doctors, engineers, scientists. Keep on studying, keep on reading your books, and stay away from going outside, and make sure that you are safe all the time. We love you, Mr. Kat, Khalid. I am finished, and then next time we are going to do about the part that I've just told you. And then thank you for being in this lesson. This is the end, and bye-bye. We all love you, myself and Mr. Kat, Khalid. Thank you very much. And we are finished, Sene. Hello.